with Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein is from the Epstein Files.
The Epstein Files.
Defender Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein.
In August 2019, one of the most infamous prisoners in America was found dead in his jail cell. Jeffrey Epstein, a billionaire financier, convicted sex offender, and associate of some of the most powerful people on earth, was supposed to face justice. Instead, he never made it to trial. His death sparked global outrage, endless questions, and a single haunting thought. How did one man abuse so many people for so long while hiding in plain sight? This is the story of Jeffrey Epstein, his rise, his crimes, his victims, and the system that failed them. Jeffrey Epstein was born in 1953 in Brooklyn, New York, to a middle-class family. He was intelligent, ambitious, and deeply interested in status. In the 1970s, Epstein briefly worked as a math and physics teacher at an elite private school, despite having no college degree. It was there that he began forming relationships with wealthy families. Those relationships would change his life. By the 1980s, Epstein had reinvented himself as a financier. He claimed to manage money for billionaires, royalty, and powerful institutions. But from the very beginning, how he actually made his fortune was unclear, a mystery that would follow him for decades. Epstein understood something critical. Access is power. He positioned himself as a gatekeeper, someone who connected the ultra-rich to each other. He cultivated relationships with politicians, scientists, CEOs, royalty, and celebrities. He owned multiple luxury properties, including a Manhattan mansion, a Palm Beach estate, a private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands, residences in New Mexico and Paris. These locations weren't just homes. They became hubs of influence, and later, alleged abuse. People around Epstein often asked, why does this man seem untouchable?
Behind the wealth and status was a disturbing pattern. For years, Epstein allegedly recruited underage girls, some as young as 14, under the guise of offering money for massages. According to survivors, the massages became sexual. Girls were pressured, manipulated, and groomed. Victims were sometimes encouraged to recruit other girls. Many of these young women came from vulnerable backgrounds. Some were struggling financially. Others trusted Epstein because of his wealth and connections. This was not a single incident. It was systematic abuse, happening repeatedly across multiple locations. The most important thing to remember here is this: the victims spoke up. They told the truth, and they were ignored for years.
In 2005, police in Palm Beach began investigating Epstein after reports from victims and their families. What followed is one of the most criticized legal deals in modern American history. In 2008, Epstein accepted a secret plea agreement. He pleaded guilty to lesser charges, served only 13 months in jail, was allowed work release for most of his sentence, avoided federal prosecution entirely. Many victims were never informed of this deal. To critics, this wasn't justice, it was protection. Epstein walked free and for years resumed life as usual. One of the most disturbing aspects of the Epstein case is who surrounded him. Over the years, Epstein was linked socially, not always criminally, but closely, to presidents and former presidents, princes and royalty, billionaires and hedge fund managers, world-renowned academics and scientists. Photos, flight logs, and witness accounts placed powerful people in Epstein's orbit. Important note, not everyone connected to Epstein committed crimes, but many questions remain unanswered, especially about who knew what and when. Epstein didn't operate in isolation. The scale of his abuse suggests enablers, silence, and institutional failure. In July 2019, Epstein was arrested again, this time on federal sex trafficking charges. For the first time, it appeared he might actually face consequences. Then, on August 10, 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York. Officials ruled his death a suicide, but almost immediately, questions emerged. Why were guards allegedly asleep? Why were cameras malfunctioning? Why was he removed from suicide watch? Public trust collapsed. To many, Epstein's death symbolized the ultimate failure of accountability, or worse, a cover-up. What's certain is this: his death ended the chance for a full public trial. Even years later, major questions remain. Who else was involved? Why were warnings ignored for so long? How did Epstein avoid consequences for decades? Why has accountability been so limited? Some civil cases have moved forward, some settlements have been paid, but for many victims, closure never came. Epstein's death closed a courtroom door, but it opened a global conversation about power, abuse, and justice. The story of Jeffrey Epstein is not just about one man. It's about systems that protect the powerful, voices that went unheard, and victims who were failed repeatedly. Justice isn't just about punishment. It's about listening, accountability, and preventing abuse from happening again. The question we're left with isn't what happened. It's whether we're willing to make sure it never happens again.